Hey guys, today we're looking at a very exciting compact mechanical keyboard. I've always been interested in low profile mechanical keyboards, and it's just recently that I've started seeing units that are exactly what I have in mind. The NuPhy NuType F1 is super compact with a 60% like form factor. It has incredibly stable Bluetooth support. It comes with a carrying case that doubles as a stand for phones and tablets, and it's also meant to go on top of MacBooks to replace the stock keyboard. It's one of the most innovative mechanical keyboards I've tried recently, and although the typing experience isn't as great as my other custom mechanical keyboards with full-size switches, I'm defaulting to this one these days because of how clean it looks on my desk, how reliable the wireless signal is, and how well it manages power. But enough rambling, let's go over all the aspects of this keyboard, and I'll end the video with what I think is missing to make it a perfect portable keyboard. Let's go. This keyboard comes in a super sleek box. The main theme is orange and black, really nice branding. Inside the box, you get a keycaps puller, a super short Type-C to Type-C USB cable, and a longer regular Type-C to A USB cable. And then some documentation, a poster, and stickers. Interesting. And finally, the keyboard itself with really nice plastic wrapping. The keyboard then comes in a travel case that wraps around, pretty solid, and it looks great in my opinion with the gray pattern and label on top. Honestly, this is a really great unboxing experience. Coming from a relatively new brand, I'm impressed. Looking at the keyboard a little closer, it's really well built. I have the black version, but you can get it in white and silver as well. The body is made from an aluminum alloy material and feels great. It's fairly thin and has around the same dimensions as a 60% mechanical keyboard, just a tad narrower to fit a MacBook keyboard. At the left, you'll get a USB port that can be used both for charging and to use the keyboard wired, but since this keyboard supports Bluetooth, you can also use it wirelessly. These modes can be toggled with the switch just beside the port, where you can pick from the wired, wireless, and off modes. At the front, there are 4 LED indicators, letting you know if it's currently connected through USB or one of the Bluetooth channels. Under the keyboard is a fully rubberized mat with a mirror finish plate in the middle. Pretty cool detail. And then there is also a protruding pattern that's meant to secure on a MacBook keyboard so that it doesn't move around if you have it on top. It works great on my 2018 15-inch MacBook Pro, but I can tell how well it fits on the other MacBook models or simply other laptops. Even on the keyboard that came with this MacBook that has super low travel, this keyboard doesn't move on top. And remember that super short Type-C to Type-C cable that came in the box? Well, that's meant to be used in this scenario where the Type-C port of the laptop and keyboard are super close. It can be used for wired connectivity or simply meant to charge the keyboard's battery. It still leaves the touch bar free, although it's not super easy to access given the thickness of the keyboard. These protruding lines are nice for this scenario, although on a table they add a bit of wobble on the sides with the keyboard. It's generally not a problem if you use a desk mat though. Looking closer at the included case, it has a magnet to hold the keyboard in place so that it doesn't fall. Clever design. And it doubles as a stand for something like a tablet or a phone, so not only it protects the keyboard while on the move, it can also be useful while you're using the keyboard. In terms of layout, this keyboard comes with a bunch of ISO and NC variants, so that's pretty cool, but I went with the standard US ISO layout. It's mostly standard for the alpha numerical section, but the bottom row isn't standard at all, including the spacebar and the added function key at the far left. The right shift key is in an odd location, but they still give you dedicated arrow keys. And finally, the rightmost column is something like 0.5 units narrower than a standard layout. So I think it'll be very hard to find replacement keycaps for this keyboard. Looking at said keycaps, they are very average ABS keycaps with dyed tops and laser etched legends, so you can expect them to wear out quite fast and the keycaps themselves will shine over time. They feature a flat profile, which can be a bit hard to get used to at first if you're coming from a regular mechanical keyboard, but I got used to it after some time. The keyboard uses the original Kale low-profile switches, so the mounting system is proprietary too, which adds a bit to the complexity of finding replacements. In terms of switches, it's offered in red, brown, or white Kale low-profile switches, so linears, tactiles, or click keys, and my unit has browns. They are definitely not the best tactile switches, but that's probably one of the best typing experience on a pre-built low-profile keyboard that you can get. There is very little pre-travel for the tactile bump, and they still offer quite a bit of total travel. They're light switches with a 50-gram actuation force. I would say this is better than any low-profile keyboards I've tried in the past. Then the stabilizers are cherry style but in low profile format. That's nice to see as they're easy to play with. They are barely lubed out of the box, so they rattle quite a bit and would benefit from additional lubing. This keyboard also has LEDs under every switch. It comes with a bunch of animations on board. You can cycle through them with function plus question mark, then cycle through the colors with function plus greater than, and finally adjust the speed with function plus the bracket keys. You cannot do a key by key color setup, but that's good enough for me, and the lights are even with vibrant colors. I bet it looks even better on the white model. Now to what I think is the best feature of this keyboard, Bluetooth support. The Bluetooth implementation in this keyboard is some of the best I have seen. I've used it for around 2 weeks at work for full days with LEDs off, and I never had to recharge the battery until very recently. I never turned off the keyboard with the switch. I left it on overnight every time. It never failed to connect or reconnect, and the latency was very low. I never got characters in the wrong order, and there was no unpredictable lag that I sometimes get with Bluetooth-enabled mechanical keyboards. In fact, my Apple Magic Trackpad has connectivity issues maybe once or twice a week with the same MacBook I tested this keyboard with, and the keyboard was simply more stable. The great battery life comes from a decent sized battery at 1800 mAh, but also great power management. When you stop typing for a bit, it goes to sleep to preserve the battery. However, as you start typing, it wakes up automatically and never misses the first characters. It really is a perfect Bluetooth implementation, and it's so rare to see it in mechanical keyboards. Switching between devices is also quite fast and works all the time. It's also a great option for tablets. The included case then becomes a great stand for something like an iPad Pro 11-inch. Given that it can pack with the case and then be used as a stand, I feel like it's a great contender to other keyboard solutions for the iPad, especially if you pair it with a portable mouse like the Logitech MX Anywhere. So in conclusion, if you're looking for a low-profile keyboard that's also portable, I believe that's likely the best option on the market as of now. Keychron is releasing the K3 later this year, so it might be another good alternative, although this NuPhy NuType F1 has definitive advantages, like the case that doubles as a stand and its more compact form factor. I can definitely recommend this keyboard for multiple scenarios. Typing on top of your MacBook is one of them, but it's also an amazing keyboard for the iPad, and I personally use it for now in my fixed desk setup just because it looks so clean and I finally have a Bluetooth mechanical keyboard with great power management. What I would change is for it to use Kailh's V2 low profile switches instead of the originals, as the new ones have Cherry MX stems, so we could replace the keycaps with anything on the market. I bet it would be awesome with Cherry profile keycaps. Finally, I wish the layout was closer to standard. If arrow keys are a must, then I'd go with a 65% layout or simply no arrow keys on a standard 60% layout. So that wraps it up for today. As always, I'll have an affiliate link to this keyboard down below. Feel free to use it if you're interested and want to support the channel at the same time. So thanks for watching, make sure you leave a like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, as I'll see you in a future video.